Today on Historia Gaia.
How the transatlantic slave trade created the African diaspora. Forced transport of African slaves led to black populations in North and South America and elsewhere. The transatlantic slave trade captured, transported, and sold Africans to Europeans for lifelong servitude in the Americas. From the 16th to 19th centuries, it created the African diaspora, the dispersion of black people outside of Africa as a result of the transatlantic slave trade. There are 51.5 million people of African descent in North America, the United States, Mexico, and Canada, 66 million inches South America, 1.9 million inches Central America, and 14.5 million inches the Caribbean. These diasporic peoples have developed rich cultural traditions, distinct societies, and independent nations over centuries of transformation and upheaval. Trade triangle. Transatlantic slavery was part of the triangular trade. European ships carrying firearms and manufactured goods sailed to Africa to trade for enslaved men, women, and children. The same ships then transported the humans to the Americas. The Middle Passage was a horrific journey. After disembarking the slaves, the ships reloaded with cotton, sugar, tobacco, and other cash crops produced by slave labor and returned to Europe. The triangular trade made Europe and America rich at the cost of millions of lives. The Middle Passage killed 1.8 million Africans. Portugal, Britain, France, the Netherlands, Spain, the US, and Denmark shipped 12.5 million Africans to the New World as slaves. Germany and Sweden also participated indirectly or briefly, as a French colony and later as part of the British Empire. Canada held slaves. Charmaine A. Nelson, director of NSCAD University's Institute for the Study of Canadian Slavery, says little is known about Canadian slavery. Where amnesic Africans' role in slavery. Another downplayed factor is the role of ruling African states in capturing and selling fellow Africans to European traders. About 90% of all captives. Guns for interethnic warfare were the main motivation for these transactions. Slaves were abducted from Senegal to Angola and taken to Argentina and New England. Slavery is dehumanizing everywhere, but practices vary. This variation explains demographic, cultural, and genetic differences among diasporic black populations. A July 2020 genetic study found that enslaved women contributed more than men to the modern-day African American gene pool. The findings also show that Caucasian men contributed more than women, confirming the sexual abuse of enslaved women. Beyond the Americas, the Arab slave trade preceded the transatlantic slave trade. They helped establish the African diaspora in the Old World. Sylvian A. Diouf, a diaspora historian, co-curated the 2013 exhibition Africans in India, From Slaves to Generals and Rulers at New York's Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. Since the 1300s, many Africans and their descendants have become generals, admirals, architects, high-ranking officials, prime ministers, and rulers. In Janjira and Sachin, they ruled over Hindu and Jewish majorities. Arab and transatlantic slave trades inevitably overlapped in human exploitation, if not commerce. Arab enslavers began taking Africans to Madagascar in the 10th century. In the 18th century, European enslavers transported 6,000 shackled people to U.S. slave markets. Madagascans made up a small percentage of the enslaved population, but their DNA is identifiable in living descendants like actor Maya Rudolph and director Keenen Ivory Wayans. Enslaved Africans were brought to Europe to satisfy European fascinations. Monica L. Miller, author of Slaves to Fashion, Black Dandyism and the Styling of Black Diasporic Identity, says British royals, nobles, ship captains, and merchants kept Africans as entertainment, curiosities, and sometimes surrogate sons. These black men wore the latest fashions or liveries, forced foppishness, resisting Marjolaine Cass, author of Blood on the River, A Chronicle of Mutiny and Freedom on the Wild Coast, says the transatlantic slave trade shaped slave resistance for nearly 4 centuries before its abolition. Take 1763 to 1744, Berbis's Slave Rebellion. In 1763, a Dutch colony on South America's Caribbean coast experienced a year-long rebellion. Slaves led by Koffage or Kofi rose up, drove the Dutch from the colony, and took control.